guys, good morning and welcome to NASA Ames. Here I am, and there is our main showpiece event today. That's the 747 SP, also called the SOFIA, and we're going to tour that.
So SOFIA is an observatory. Normally it flies out of Palmdale in Southern California. So we're really excited it's here. Last time it was here was in 2011. What NASA bought a retired 747 SP. Oh, and all these lithos, by the way, are online. See the little poster with the blue border on there? There's a QR code and a website. So you're welcome to take pictures of the litho, but if you want to get all the data, you can look it up there. So NASA bought this retired 747 SP and they did a lot of modification. They cut a big hole in the side. They put a 2.7 meter telescope on it, and they put a bulkhead so the air doesn't all rush off when you have the door open. And they did a lot of wonderful modifications so that all this stuff on the side, you can see a little bit on this picture, helps keep the airflow smooth, which is important so that it doesn't mess up when you're flying. My understanding from what they say is the pilots say that they actually can't tell when the door is opening and closed, which is just amazing. Yeah. So the door is closed because they only do observing at night. They don't have it open on the ground. But when they do they take off and land from the same place. So what happens is they take off, they get to about 28,000 feet, they open the door and they start doing observing, and then as they burn off fuel, they can go higher and higher because the plane is lighter. So the light comes and hits the primary mirror, gets reflected to the secondary mirror, gets reflected to the tertiary mirror, and that goes into the main part of the telescope that you'll be able to see. That big blue wall there is the bulkhead, is also where the telescope is. So the light goes through there, and then they have different instruments that they can have attached to the telescope. So they'll fly a series of flights with one instrument, and then on the ground they'll swap them out, and they'll have another instrument, and they'll fly another series of flights. So the instrument that's up there right now is called Forecast. It's a mid-range infrared camera, built by Cornell, by the way, which is why it says Cornell on it. You'll see that. But they have a number of different other instruments that they can use. So some of them are spectrometers, where they're looking at the spectral lines. They have photometers, and because they can change the instruments, they have a wide range of science that they can do. So it gives a lot of versatility. It's really exciting that way. So when you're up there, and again, if I repeat myself, remember I've been talking to people all morning, so I don't remember exactly what I said. That was straight out straight. But they're going to ask you not to linger when you're there. So you'll be coming up there and you'll see the different stations where people are sitting. The mission director and the mission director 2, who is in charge of the flight planning, manages the flight. So the mission director, she or he's the only one who can talk to everyone. And they're the ones that talk to the pilots and talk about what to do. Sometimes when they're flying, they'll be like just turning a couple degrees at a time because they're trying to keep that's the other thing. The part of the way you point the telescope is which way the plane's pointing. So the flight planning, they start planning 4 months ahead of time. And they're looking, okay, what will be in the sky? What will be visible at this time? What are we looking at? Which direction is the plane pointing? It's really complicated. And so sometimes the mission director will tell the pilot, okay, turn 1 degree, turn 1 degree, turn 1 degree. And they have to be really, really precise because they're wanting to make sure that the telescope's aimed just the right place and they're getting as much shade as they can. So, and then the flight planner there is there because sometimes they have to make modifications. Something happens. So they have to have someone right there who can be flexible and change things as needed. Over in this station here is the telescope operator. So they're making sure the telescope's pointing at exactly the right place. Even though this is an infrared telescope, they do have a visible light component there, so that helps them with aiming exactly where they want to go. And then you have the instrument operator. So once you've got the light, you need to either take the picture or collect the data, the spectrum. So their job is to make sure, hey, we've got the information that we need. I told you all these are we've got the QR code, you can download this. The other question people often say, why are we doing infrared astronomy? Well, I think all astronomy is really cool. But, so there's the visible spectrum that we can see, which is great. A little longer than what we can see is the infrared. And I love this litho because we've got the example of, this is Orion in the visible spectrum. one of my favorite constellations because I can actually recognize
Oh,
it all
yeah.
the time. But this is what it looks like in the infrared.
Wow.
So there's a lot of stuff that's going on that we would miss if you didn't see the infrared. And these bright spots are, a lot of them are stellar nurseries and things like that. We also, they do a lot of work at looking at the black hole in the center of the galaxy, a lot of different stuff. So after you go through, we've got all these stations for people to ask questions. You'll go through the observatory, and they have Ask an Astronomer station on the other side. So ask them your questions because they're here to answer those.
Can you tell us how often do they fly, average?
They could fly 4 or more times a week. It sort of depends on whether they're doing an instrument swap, whether the plane is going. And I think I told you it's 8 to 10 hours at a time, and they take off and land at the same place. Again, if I'm repeating myself, it's because I'm repeating
And
myself.
this is the only SOFIA, or?
There's only one.
Yeah,
The
okay.
one and only. And so it's a joint both between NASA Ames and NASA Armstrong, which is in Southern California. NASA Ames manages the science part of it. And then also it's joint between NASA and the German Space Agency. 80 NASA, 20 German Space Agency. They're responsible for the telescope. And also a lot of the telescope operators are German as well.
And why is it in the Bay Area right now?
I don't know the exact reason. I'm just so excited it's here.
I think it's just
For us, just
goodwill.
because
It's just a
just
goodwill
for
for
you.
I
Just for
mean,
you.
I know they did science on the way up, and someone else might know the official reason. I just was like,
So, we are inside SOFIA. This is the 747 SP. Back there you can see the telescope. And this is the stairs to the cockpit. We are not allowed there. And it's a spacious, roomy cabin. I'm going to show you the interiors. Each one has their desk. So, this is back there in the fuselage. Plenty of things on the walls. This is really cool.